Hey everyone, welcome to the film strip. As you may have noticed, I'm wearing my Superman shirt because, as we all know, Clark Kent and Lois Lane are the greatest romantic comedy of all time. Okay, I was kidding. It was just a coincidence because Superman has nothing to do with Down with Love, but as we all know, it's still true. So today we're talking about the 2003 movie Down with Love. I consider this a modern movie even though it's almost 20 years old. Maybe you can see why. It occurred to me that I own the DVD, which is why it's nicely displayed here, and here are two of the other movies that we watched. So if you take anything from this, it's buy physical media because it's really nice. I love holding these movies. It gives you something tangible to hold on to, and to spiel. Because Down with Love is more of a modern movie, there isn't as much production stuff to go into. Obviously, in 2003, there was a lot of stuff going on in the industry, but because we skipped so much from Singing in the Rain to Down with Love, and the comparison that we're making is these satires of the mid-century, we're focusing less on the fact that it's from 2003 and more of the content of the movie. Although the modern perspective of the mid-century, it still factors heavily into the effects of the movie. So I really enjoy this movie. It's definitely flawed. It's not a perfect movie the way that Singing in the Rain is. There are a couple of times where they could have just let the joke lie and instead they had to do this big overreaction shot, and I understand why it's a little off-putting to someone, but once you sort of get into the flow of the movie, it becomes really entertaining and witty, and they just have a lot of fun with what they're doing. I think ultimately the themes might be a little unclear or less explored than one might hope, but the overall feel and style of the movie kind of makes up for it. It's really light, really frothy, and it seems like the leads are having a really good time. So speaking of themes, one of the most prominent threads in the movie is feminism, even though the characters never mention it themselves. I think it's worth asking, where in the movie can we find feminism that's relevant, and where can we find its limitations, both in the ways that the characters see feminism and the ways that we can see it. Because the feminism of 2003 is very different from the feminism of 2020. So we are able to look back at 2003 with a different lens, the same way that 2003 was looking back at the 1960s with a feminist lens. In addition to that, we can look back at how 2003 is looking back at the 60s. What is the point that they're trying to make with the satire and with bringing up feminism? Are they trying to say that we know better now? What perspective are they bringing to it? And in what ways are they right, and in what ways are they wrong? Also, a huge thing about this movie is this expectations of tropes, expectations of what the 60s were like, and expectations that the characters have for each other. So we really should look at the ways that expectations are set up, knocked down, played with, tropes, stuff like that. There is a large sense of playfulness in this movie, but I want to know why they're being so playful and what the point of the playfulness is. Finally, this is both a satire and a spoof, and I think it's worth looking at what it's spoofing directly, what it's sort of lovingly homaging to, and what it's satirizing, and why they want to satire those elements of the movie. This definitely plays on the big 50s production values that I was talking about before. There's even a little nod to CinemaScope, which I personally love. It's reifying those movies. What else is it tearing down? Is it saying that this type of romance is outdated? Is it saying that these movies from the 50s were naive, more innocent, more sexual, whatever? Why is doing a 50s spoof or early 60s spoof in the early aughts such a good idea? What is it bringing to the table? What does it have to say about mid-century romantic comedies? That said, I hope you enjoyed Down with Love. It's a personal favorite. Like I said, it's very light, very frothy, very easy, but I think there's still things to dig into, and that's what makes romantic comedies so involving. Thank you for joining. I will see you at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Daylight Time, or whatever time. It's 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, so we can discuss Down with Love in a live Q&A. As always, please like and subscribe, because this is YouTube. If you have any comments, I would love to hear them. I'll get back to them as soon as possible. And I've included links to a syllabus and Venmo if you'd like to support this show. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.